Am I the a-hole for being mad over double standards in my marriage? I found out that my husband made a disgusting bet with his friends when he met me, and now I can't see him the same way. All my friends think my 22 male, girlfriend 21 female is creepy. Are they right? I accidentally caused a war between my family and my brother's wife's family with one innocent text message. Am I the a-hole for being mad over double standards in my marriage? A week ago, I asked my daughter, 8, to quickly watch her brother, 10 months, while I picked up some things from the floor that I had been working on during his nap. She rarely gets asked to watch him, as I feel that he is my job, not hers. Hubby came home and saw that she was watching the baby and went off on me about how I was irresponsible. Accidents happen quickly and she wouldn't know what to do in a choking event. These are all reasonable fears, so I made the necessary changes to ensure I am there to watch him at all times. Today, Sunday, I asked him to watch the baby as I started baking a large order. I came into the room and noticed he was alone watching TV. I asked him where the baby was, and he replied that our daughter was watching him in our bedroom. Her bedroom is on the opposite side of the house, and with the TV blaring, you could definitely not hear what was going on in her room. I pointed out to him how he yelled at me last week for the same thing, and he replied that was different. When asked how, he replied she wants to look after him. She came to ask me if she could. I was so mad. I didn't leave them alone for prolonged periods of time. I was literally in and out of the room during all of that time as I was cleaning up. But that was neglectful and dangerous because I asked her to watch the baby. While at the same time, it is perfectly okay for her to be left completely alone, rooms away with the TV on because she asked to watch him, so somehow that would mean that she pays closer attention to him. Like, accidents don't happen when you choose to look after a baby. He is now mad at me, saying I am overreacting and that I am still in the wrong while he is not. I accept that I was wrong in asking her to watch him, but am I wrong for being mad about the double standards? Absolutely not. That is a pretty easy cut and paste one right there. Definitely not the a-hole. I don't know why, but I saw this as like, I guess it's responsible for him to call it out, don't get me wrong, but I feel like parents do this all the time. Like, you can't watch that baby 24/7. At a certain point, you got to trust the fact that like you've taken the precautions to get rid of all these choking hazards or any other hazards. I don't know. I think it's like, hey, maybe we should watch the baby better, not like I'm mad at you and you're irresponsible. I, 24 female, found out that my husband, 35 male, made a disgusting bet with his friends when he met me, and now I can't see him the same way. So the original post was December 7th, 2022. The husband, 35 male, is friends with my 24 female. When this girl was 18, this dude was 27. The husband, 35 male, is friends with my 24 female, stepbrother, 36 male, since they were in college, and to be honest, they were always respectful to me, and I never knew they were bad enough to do what they did to me. I thought they respected me for being their friend's younger sister, but I was wrong. Their group of friends dissolved when they grew up and followed different paths, and a few days ago, they decided to meet again. Well, that meeting was held at my house, and at one point during dinner, one of his friends started saying things like he, my husband, was very lucky that our thing worked out. And when he said that, some laughed, and my stepbrother and my husband got very nervous, so I asked what he was talking about. And when my husband tried to shut him up, I knew something was wrong, so I asked the same thing again. He told me that when my stepbrother introduced us, he told them that I was really arrogant and a loser, and that I needed someone to teach me a lesson. And I admit, I was very arrogant. I used to be annoying because I thought that no one was smarter than me and they were all idiots. Well, they, except my stepbrother, decided to bet to see who would get to sleep with me first. Evidently, it was my husband, and we've been together ever since. This happened 6 years ago. And I would feel less hurt if he had always been an a-hole because it would be my fault for falling in love with someone like that. But he was always so sweet and cute to me since we started talking that I would never have thought that he was making fun of me behind my back. When his friend said that, everyone shut up because my face said it all. I got so pissed off that I just laughed and went to our room. My husband followed me and began to swear to me that he is no longer like that and that he loves me and that he regrets what an a-hole he was before he met me. And even though we talked a lot and I tried to forgive him, I can't look at him the same way. This morning, he went with me to my appointment with the doctor because I am pregnant, and when he cried when he he saw our baby, I was disgusted because I don't know if he is being sincere or not. I don't know when I'll trust him again. I want to, but I can't. Does that even make sense? Could things go back to the way they were before this mess? I want to say it was an a-hole move for your husband to do that, or for them to like hop into that bet. The guy mentality is very stupid. Like, the husband could have really thought that OP was cute and that he really liked them, but like because of mob mentality with a group of boys, he like went in on this bet, right? But if he's been like cute and sweet since the start and has proven that he like actually loves her, which I'm guessing by getting married, that's pretty evident. If we just look at that scope, I think they can get over it. They just need to go to like some couples therapy, have some talks about it. To be completely honest, the problem that I have with this is if you look on the timeline for this, it's kind of fucked up. This happened 6 years ago. But the time when this happened, OP was 18 and the husband was 29. Fuck everything else. Sure, it is a disgusting bet, but I've done things I'm not super proud of when I was a lot younger, and I'm able to look back and be like, wow, that version of me, dickhead, don't approve of him. I'm more focused on bro, 29-year-old with an 18-year-old. That is terrifying. We do not fuck with that. The am I the a-hole is, am I the a-hole for enforcing my husband to celebrate his birthday only with me because I don't like his family? So this was posted a little over a month after this original post. So this is a month after she figured out about this bet. I guess the edit's pretty important. A few weeks ago, I found out about a horrible bet that he made with his friends about me before we started dating, and it was not easy to forgive him. So I told him that I would forgive him if he didn't invite his family. That's why I said I forced him in the title. The thing is, my 24 female husband, 36 male, comes from a family that really doesn't know what boundaries are. Ever since they found out I'm pregnant, they tell me what to eat, what to wear, how to act, etc. I can't stand them anymore. I tried 1,000 times to like them, but I can't, and they are overwhelming. I'm about to give birth and I just want peace, and I know that with them that is impossible. So I asked my husband to go to a restaurant to celebrate his birthday because I wanted to be at peace at home. He refused because he said he wanted to stay with me, so I told him not to invite his family then because they get on my nerves. At first, he didn't like the idea so much because he never celebrated a birthday party without his family, but then he accepted. So we celebrated just the two of us at our house, and of course his family got mad at us, especially me, because they know it was me who didn't want them to come. But I don't regret the decision I made because it's the first time in 6 years that I've dared to face them and tell them not to do something I don't like, so am I the a-hole? I personally am feeling you're the a-hole. I want to empower OP to stand up to this family, especially if the family is as overwhelming as you explained. That is a good thing. Create those boundaries and set them up early. I mean, 6 years is pretty late. Now is better than never. So that's something that OP should do. I don't think the right time to do that is on the day that's supposed to be all about your husband. I think you take that stand against the family in a situation that isn't as big as a birthday. Just off of that knowledge, I'm going with OP's the a-hole. I also kind of want to go with OP's the a-hole because of this paragraph here. It was not easy to forgive him, so I told him that I would forgive him if he didn't invite his family. That's a weird dynamic. Like, she's almost turning this bad thing that her husband did into a weapon, and you don't forgive somebody because they decide to cave in to what you want. That's not a good reason to forgive someone. You should forgive someone because you truly out of your heart want to forgive them. Forgiveness isn't a tool to be leveraged. It's not a bargaining chip. Odds are OP doesn't actually forgive him. 10 months later, they updated us on September 5th. On my first post, I, 24 female, got a lot of nice comments and even messages, so I thought it would be a good idea to post an update. After I found out about the bet, we had so many fights that we thought it was the end of our marriage and decided to start couples therapy hoping for the best, and thanks to that, we were able to move on. He, 36 male, apologized many times, and we had many long talks on this matter, but today I can say that everything is in the past. Today we have a beautiful 7-month-old baby girl, and I am 5 months pregnant. Hold on, they have a 7-month-old baby girl and they're 5. Blow down. Can you just chill? Wait. Don't you have to wait like 2 months after a woman gives birth? Don't you have to wait a long time? Most doctors recommend waiting 6 weeks after giving birth to have sex again. So you're telling me this woman pushed a whole ass child out of her vagina and then got pregnant again within a 2-week span?
Yikes.
I am 5 months pregnant, and to be honest, I've never been happier. Of course, there are days where I think about what he did, but then I think about the present and what he is today, and I forget about everything because the truth is that he is another person now. Well, he was never really mean to me because from the moment we started talking, he was always caring and sweet, and only now I know that everything is genuine and he's not faking it. I mean, I could have told you that. You'd have to be pretty committed to the bit to get married to someone and still be faking it after 6 years, although according to him, he never really faked anything because he liked liked me a lot when he knew me intimately. I don't think our marriage is perfect because from time to time we have fights, but for that reason, we are still working on a relationship. Because we love each other and we want this to work, we want to grow old together, so that's all. There isn't much more to say. All my friends think my 22 male girlfriend, 21 female is creepy. Are they right? Original post, 26th of August. I, 22 male, started dating my girlfriend, let's call her Alice, 21 female, about 7 months ago. We met while working on a group project for one of our college classes. From the moment I met her, I felt an instant connection. She was beautiful, smart, and we shared a bunch of common interests. Long story short, we flirted for a few weeks before I finally asked her out, and we've been happily going out since. Now here comes the problem. About a month ago, my friends and I were planning to hang out, and I invited Alice. While me and Alice are from the same hometown, we met during college, and a majority of our relationship has been during the school year. While we know each other's college friends, we never met each other's hometown friends. I know that Alice has really bad social anxiety, so I was hesitant to invite her at first, but when I did ask, she seemed nervous but really excited. The party seemed to go really well. Alice was smiling and laughing the whole time and even got to go on a rant about a topic she really liked. When it was over, she even told me while I was taking her home how much she liked my friends. When I asked my friends what they thought of Alice, they all said she seemed nice. All except my best friend, Ruben, 22 male. When I asked him, he told me that he hated her. I immediately questioned why, hoping it was them not mixing well, as I can acknowledge that Ruben and Alice are complete opposites when it comes to interests and personality. But Ruben told me he hated her because of how creepy she is, and I was better off dumping her. Now, this threw me off as I had never once considered Alice creepy. She's actually the cutest girl I've ever met, and I've never felt more comfortable around someone as I do around her. Before I could even ask what he meant, he went off on a rant about how uncomfortable she made him and started citing stories I told him about our dates during college. Stuff like how she'd stare at me without saying anything and just enjoyed looking at me. How she'd eat the same meals whenever we went to dinner. How unjealous she was when a girl came up and flirted with me. Or about her deep knowledge of poisons and love for murder mysteries and true crime. Both of which she could talk about for hours, but neither of which she actually talked about at the party. He said that while he wrote them off before since they didn't seem to bother me, which they don't, but that after meeting her in person and seeing how weird and flighty she was, he could tell that she's a secret psycho and will end up either breaking my heart or physically hurting me. I tried to explain to him how any weirdness was probably just because she was nervous about meeting them for the first time, but he insisted that we've had friends, significant others have anxiety before, and it was that she was plain weird. I blew him off at first because he sounded effing crazy. Alice isn't perfect, but she's far from creepy. But after 2 weeks of telling me to dump her, I'm getting tired of telling him to drop it. I reached out to a few of our friends to prove him wrong, but to my surprise, they all agreed that Alice was creepy. Most of them said the way she spoke really threw them off, which is fair since Alice can be weirdly formal sometimes, but I didn't notice her doing that at the party at all, and typically it's much more funny than unsettling. Most of my friends told me it wasn't enough to break up with her since they still genuinely found her sweet and fun to be around, but I did have one other friend say it was worth breaking up over and he was just too embarrassed to tell me at first. I have no plans of breaking up with Alice because all the stuff they're calling creepy I find cute when she does, but are they right? Is it creepy she does that stuff? Should I talk to her about it? Should I just tell my friends to F off and ignore their concerns? I feel bad for even questioning about this, but with all my friends agreeing, it's starting to gnaw at me, and I just need some clarification if it's actually creepy or if they're just being dramatic. What was he saying was creepy? She'd stare at me without saying anything and just enjoy looking at me. That's not creepy. I think I've done that. I think everyone's done that. I think like when you're just fascinated with someone, you just do that. We're gonna make a little scoreboard here. Creepy, not creepy. 0 to 1 right now for not creepy. How she eat the same meals whenever we went to dinner. Not creepy. I don't know how you could argue that's creepy. Maybe she's picky, maybe she's on a diet. Homie, stretch it. How unjealous she was when a girl came up and flirted with me. I'm gonna go with not creepy on that one. It might be like that's just like what you say. You're like, no, babe, that didn't make me jealous. Haha. But then they were actually jealous about it. I wouldn't say that's creepy. I would just say like, hey, maybe you should look into that because odds are that might not be completely true. Deep knowledge of poisons and love for murder mysteries and true crime. Okay, that gets like half. If you would have said that like 5-10 years ago, I think I would have been like, yeah, definitely creepy. Keep an eye out on that one. But because of how much true crime and murder mysteries have blown up because of serial killer podcasts, I'm more leaning towards not creepy than creepy on that one. But for the sake of this guy having an argument, let's say it is creepy. But after meeting her in person and seeing how weird and flighty she was, he can tell that she's a secret psycho and will end up either breaking my heart or physically hurting me. Unless you are a psychologist, you cannot accurately predict someone is a secret psycho. That's just dumb. The way she spoke really threw them off, but that's not a reason to like break up with somebody. And that's also not creepy. Bro, let the girl speak how she wants to speak. I'm guessing that like these people are just jealous that homeboy has a girlfriend and they don't. This sounds like a group that might not be phenomenal with the ladies, and they're just jealous that their homeboy has found. If they were like, yeah, she was telling me about her taxidermy collection and how she loves to cut up little animals, that would be creepy. Update on the post, September 24th, 2023. Wow, thank you all so much for your helpful comments and validation. I'm glad y'all agree that the stuff Alice is doing wasn't really creepy. Anyway, to get into the meat of this update, since I posted originally, I spoke with each of my friends individually and talked to them about what they said. Pretty much all of them apologized, and some even offered to apologize to Alice herself, which at the time I said no to, since I didn't want them interacting with her, but we'll get back to that later. The only one who didn't apologize, as I'm sure you guessed, was Ruben. I want to address some comments suggesting that Ruben could either be attracted to me or maybe even Alice. I didn't even think of that. I don't think either of those are true, as Alice is the first girlfriend Ruben has ever acted like this with, even though I've dated plenty of girls, and Alice isn't his usual type. He may still be attracted to her. I mean, she is effing gorgeous, but I've known the guy since 3rd grade, and so I know he's pretty picky about the girls he's with. So I don't think it's that. I think he's just a major dick. I've known Ruben literally my whole life since our moms were college friends and moved close to each other when they were young. With so much history, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt by just asking him to drop it, since I really didn't care if he found her creepy. I really liked her, and he'd just have to deal with it if he wanted to continue being friends. He didn't apologize or even say he was wrong, but he did agree to stop commenting on it, which isn't perfect but works for now, as I consider if I really want to continue to be friends with him. Yesterday, I met up with Alice for a casual date. It wasn't anything fancy, just a home picnic. I have really bad allergies, so we couldn't do it outside. We had some candles and our favorite foods, and we watched movies and dissected our favorite tropes. About halfway through our 3rd movie, Alice brought up Ruben since she heard about an upcoming car show / auction her dad told her about, and she remembered me saying that he loved vintage cars. Aww, she sounds so sweet. Ruben's a dick, and suggested the 3 of us and a friend of hers who was also into cars could go together, so she could get to know him better. It felt crazy that she suggested this days after mine and Ruben's fight, and it made me feel sick with how sweet she was being to such a jerk. I gave some weak excuses about how she hates car shows and doesn't have to do that, or how Ruben wouldn't be comfortable doing that. My girlfriend, being the angel she was, said she could tough through it, or even just let me and Ruben go together if he wasn't comfortable with her yet, and she'd even pay for the tickets because it was a private showing. This was the point I broke and told her everything that happened. She took it really well, just calmly listening while I rambled through my explanation, and even ended up apologizing to me about weirding out my friends. I tried to explain it wasn't her fault and she didn't need to apologize. As a lot of you suspected, she ended up telling me how she believed she was autistic, but since she hadn't gotten an official diagnosis, she wasn't comfortable telling people. After a lot of guilty chat back and forth between the 2 of us, she told me she didn't want me cutting off my friends since they did apologize and didn't say anything cruel, just pointed out her neurodivergent tendencies, which aren't an insult to her, but I put my foot down that I for sure won't be bringing her around Ruben anymore and plan to distance myself from him and my other friends for the time being, which she agreed was fair. She also wants to meet up with my friends who want to apologize to her since they seem genuine in their regret. Overall, things turned out pretty well. Thank you all so much for your input. Man, that was a ride. I'm glad that Alice received it well and was like, I don't want you to not hang out with your friends. Like, that's honestly the best reaction that like a brand new girlfriend can have. Not like a you have to choose between one or the other, but like a point of understanding, like, yeah, maybe I am a little weird. I don't think creepy is the right word. Creepy is like, I found Alice snooping through my underwear drawer. Like, that's creepy. Am I the a-hole? I, 21 female, lied to my boyfriend, 23 male, about being pregnant and losing the baby. This started last year after he forgot to tell me about a work trip to Greece and his family told me at a gathering. Just a disclaimer, we do not live together. I got really upset and it felt like I was being kept in the dark. Fast forward to when we got home to his parents' home and we argued about this. I said some stuff I regretted about him keeping it a secret to meet up with girls there, and that I was not on his mind and that he made decisions without me. Made it seem like he was cheating or had one foot out the door. He has been active on Tinder in early stages of the relationship. The work trip was not a regular work trip, more like a vacation for his company where they would drink, go to bars, and do fun stuff together. After the fight and him going to Greece, he only wanted intimacy on Saturdays and the same stuff all the time. He started telling me maybe I should work out, but not in a way that's saying you are fat, and asking me what I ate in a day. 3 months after the trip, someone at my work said they knew someone who dated a guy that worked with my boyfriend, and that my boyfriend's work has been at a strip club when on vacation. I called my boyfriend as soon as I was done talking to my colleague, and he denied being at a strip club, but that some of the other guys had went, and that he didn't want to tell me because he knew I would overreact and worry. Fast forward to this summer, I had been feeling down for a long time, and I didn't know if I wanted this relationship to continue. We went on a trip to his homeland, he's from Asia, and we started having sex regularly regularly, and he started showing me why I fell for him in the first place. But we got back and nothing has changed. We don't live together, we only see each other on the weekends, and we only have sex on Saturdays. I'm starting to lose feelings. I've talked to him many times, but he thinks I want too much and that he isn't enough for me. I want a family with him, and he said he wanted one too when we visited his home country. But now he tells me he doesn't want it, and if I want a child now, we should break up, and that I demand too much and I never see what he does for me. Again, I felt like I couldn't discuss our future together without him already having a foot out the door. I don't want a child now, but I like talking about the future and dreaming about it too, since I live in a really abusive household. So the next weekend I brought up something about us not seeing each other more than the weekends, and he got upset, and I flipped when we got into an argument about that, and I lied in a rage and told him I was pregnant some months ago, and that I lost it due to stress and not having him to talk to, and that if we were going to have an ongoing relationship, he had to step up more, and I had to know if it was going to be us. I did talk to him when we had calmed down and told him that it was only hypothetical, and that I made it seem like I was pregnant before to give him an example of why I don't feel like we can talk anymore, or that I feel like he's there for me. He still says he feels like I lied, and that's why I asked if I'm the a-hole. I regret saying it, but I clarified everything, and I don't feel like it's fair to be called a liar. But you did lie. Am I the a-hole? I lied to my boyfriend, 23 male, about being pregnant and losing the baby. The entire thing is not about that. It's like, here is how fucked up our relationship is. And then in the last paragraph, very briefly, OP is like, yeah, so we were arguing and then I lied that I was pregnant, but then lost the baby. But then I explained to him later that it was just a hypothetical. So technically I wasn't actually lying. I think both of y'all need to separate and go to therapy. Everyone sucks here. That was so stressful to read. I think I need to take a shot after that. That kind of relationship, the people that are in those can't think logically. They're in it for an emotional roller coaster, and in a lot of ways, that's what they're looking for in a relationship. They're looking for like those ups and downs and ups and downs. And until they like logically can separate themselves and be like, this is toxic, I need to go, they're gonna be stuck in something like that no matter what kind of relationship they're in. Am I the a-hole for abruptly cutting my ex-fiance out of my life? I, male 25, met my now ex-fiance in my first year of college. We were both 18 and went from friends to lovers pretty quickly. We clicked so well and everything was so easy and effortless. We had a really good relationship. It's the kind of relationship that everyone wishes they were in. The kind of relationship that people idolized and said, if those two broke up, then love doesn't exist. You get the picture. For the purpose of this post, let's call my ex Ashley. Ashley was everything I was looking for in a woman. Funny, smart, attractive, down to earth, and family oriented. She wanted to build a life together. Our families got close over the course of our relationship. It was like we were already one big family before even getting married. As planned, I popped the question a year ago, not knowing that this would change everything. She said yes, of course, but things started to change. Slowly but surely over the months, she became more distanced. I tried to ignore it and chalk it up to nervousness. You know, cold feet before taking the big marriage plunge. I should have trusted my instincts. She always went out with her group of friends on the weekends. I've been on those outings before. Usually it's clubbing and drinking. It's not my scene, but I trusted my girl, so I had no problem with her going without. These outings became much more frequent after I popped the question. I tried to ignore my gut feeling that something was wrong about this. I should have listened. Last week, I get a text from one of her girlfriends. She said she feels super guilty about what's been going on. According to her, Ashley has been worried about getting married. She feels that she hasn't had a chance to explore other options, and the prospect of getting locked down for life made her really anxious. On these outings, she will frequently flirt with guys, dance with them, grind on them, make out with them to get it out of her system. Since she wasn't having sex with them, she didn't consider it cheating. According to her friend, she also gave one guy a BJ in the club bathroom. She sent me pictures and videos from some of those escapades. My heart sank. I felt like I died that day. I thanked the friend for telling me and told her to keep it between us. For me, any form of cheating is a big no-no. I knew it was over. What makes this worse is that I have a past with cheating. She knows about my high school ex who cheated on me, and being a stupid teenager, I tried to end it all. This just makes this whole situation cut even deeper. She knows how much hurt she could cause and still went ahead with it. I wanted to crawl into a bed and cry for a month. I wanted to be weak. I felt weak. I decided I would give myself the chance to mourn and cry over this after I protect myself. Me and my fiance share an apartment that we both pay rent for 50-50. I decided to take 2 days off of work and covertly started to move my things out to my brother's house across the city. He knows about everything and immediately offered his place to me. The first day I moved non-essential items out. When Ashley got back from work, she made a comment about it, but I brushed it off by saying I sold some stuff and took some more stuff to a storage unit to tidy and clear space up in our apartment. She didn't question it. I was furious on the inside about everything that I found out about, but I kept cool to avoid suspicion. She noticed I was a bit withdrawn, but I told her I was just tired and stressed from work. The second day, while she was at work, my brother and his wife came over to help me pack everything else, and I was fully moved out by 3 p.m. that day. Since then, I have avoided every single form of communication sent by my ex. I have completely cut her off. I refuse to talk to her or her family. I don't even want to confront her about what happened. She came home that day and saw everything was gone. She texted all my friends and family, who in turn texted me, but I only responded to my parents, who are fully behind me in my decision. Her family and friends are blowing up my phone and saying I'm an a-hole for leaving without a word. They've even been blasting me on social media. I don't really care. She knows what she did. To me, she is dead. She doesn't exist. Because of all this backlash, my brother and his wife are now also questioning if it was right of me to completely ignore everyone. This has caused me to doubt myself a bit, so here I am. There's this tiny update that says an overwhelming amount of people have convinced me to reach out to her parents and give them an explanation to clear my name. I will update when I get a chance to tomorrow. Thank you for the response. Normally, I would say just completely ghosting is not a good form of communication, but in this instance, I don't think we can argue with it. Especially with his past with cheating, I think it's very merited for homeboy to be like, deuces. Not the a-hole. I do think he should clear his name though. After an overwhelming amount of people screamed at me in the comments to speak out, I decided to break my silence. I didn't want to make this whole thing public. Despite what she did, some part of me still cares for her. I was with her for 6 years. You can't just throw that away overnight. I came to the conclusion that the right thing to do was to talk to her parents. Only her family needed to know. Everyone else can have whatever opinion they want of me. I still don't care. The people who truly know me and are close to me are the only ones I care about. I sent a detailed message of what happened to my closest friends and family. All of them, of course, believed me right away. No pictures needed. I didn't feel like it was necessary or appropriate to spread those pictures of her, so I didn't. Now that the people I cared about were sorted, I moved on to her parents. I messaged her mom, who, by the way, I had gotten so close to, I considered her a second mom and she considered me a son. She was very upset with me, but agreed to meet up. I felt like this needed to be an in-person conversation rather than a nuke I drop in an email with everyone they know CC'd. I met her mom and her dad at a diner we used to frequent for breakfast. It was quite emotional. They were understandably upset. They didn't do anything wrong and I cut them out of my life like nothing happened. I understood why they were upset, so when they were confronting me, I was very quiet, just listening, letting them get it all out. I admit I was tearing up with them. That is until they accused me of some things. It's been a whole week since all of this went down. In that week, a lot happened. Apparently, according to her parents, my ex convinced everyone that I cheated and that she kicked me out. And I haven't been answering anyone because I was so ashamed of what I had done. LOL. I literally laughed out loud. I responded by saying that I am sorry and I wish them a happy life and walked out. What? Nah, you can't let that slander go down. I was so effing upset, I couldn't even have imagined of being accused of this. What an effing joke. I can't believe her parents would believe her and throw me under the bus so fast. I walked out because I'm pretty sure I would have said some things I'd regret to her parents. I didn't want to do this, but she left me no choice. I activated the nuclear option. This is gonna get crazy. I love it. I went home, made an email titled "For Your Reading Pleasure" and attached every picture her friend sent me, including screenshots of the chat with her friend where she expressed how guilty she felt about the cheating. I also attached the videos of her grinding and making out with other guys. I included a long explanation detailing everything that has happened since D-Day. I ended the email by saying that I do not wish to be contacted and that I expect my ring back at some point. I attached her parents, any friend I could think of, and a coworker that I just so happened to know as well. Fuck it. And that's what I'm talking about. That's how you put a cheater on blast. So that's where I'm at now. I may be the a-hole for sending that email, but she really tested my effing limits when I found out what she was telling people. I have zero regrets. Currently crashing at my brother's place on a pull-out couch. He's helping me get through this as much as one can, I guess. Who knows what kind of fallout that email will create. Either way, I'm gonna sit back and enjoy it with popcorn while sobbing. Oh, I feel like, as like terrible as that is, that's closure right there. Before he was like, yo, like I still care about her, like she cared about me. But like after that, bro, nah, that woman is a piece of shit. You shouldn't have been with her. Fuck up her life and dip. Proud of this result. Need an update on the fallout, to be honest. Yeah, I would love to know the fallout. Oh my god. I accidentally caused a war between my family and my brother's wife's family with one innocent text message. Original post on May 31st, 2023. So my brother's wedding happened 2 days ago and it turned into complete chaos, which I know even though I wasn't there. You might wonder why I didn't attend the wedding if it's my brother's. Well, it's because of his wife's family. He did send me an invitation to the wedding because he wanted me there, but his fiance told him I couldn't attend because I had a boyfriend. You might be confused, but I am a man, a bisexual man to be exact, and I have a boyfriend who I wanted to bring to the wedding. She said even though she doesn't have a problem with that, and he doesn't have a problem with that, her extremely religious parents who already forced her to do the wedding in a church would most likely banish us from the wedding and cause trouble between our families. After she told him that, my brother told me I couldn't attend and told me why. You might think I was angry, The truth is, I was relieved. I hate going to big events with lots of people because of my social anxiety, and I already was used to not being able to attend certain events because of my sexuality, so it was nothing I haven't heard before. So at the day of the wedding, I stayed at home with my boyfriend. It was worth mentioning my parents apparently didn't even know I wasn't attending the wedding. I was chilling at home cuddling with my boyfriend when I suddenly got a text message from my parents asking me where I was because they couldn't find me at the wedding party. I told them I wasn't attending the wedding and asked if my brother hadn't told them anything. They said no and asked me what happened. I didn't see any reason to lie, so I sent them a text message telling them exactly why. Now I have to admit, I don't exactly know what happened after I sent them this message because they read it but didn't reply. And why do they care in the first place? They didn't notice I wasn't there before until the wedding was already over. They only noticed when the wedding party started. However, apparently my parents talked to my brother about it, and all of a sudden my absence was the main topic of the wedding party. From what I heard, two fronts formed. On the one hand, my parents and the rest of my family against the family of my brother's wife, and apparently he, as a husband now, felt compelled to take her side and tried to argue in her favor. It's crazy to think that I was just sitting at home living my best life with my boyfriend while all that shit went down on his wedding. The wedding party was ruined, and my brother appeared on my door angrily screaming at me why I felt the need to ruin his wedding. I was confused and asked him what happened, and he told me everything. I told him it wasn't my intention. I just told our parents what happened because they didn't know and wanted to know where I was, and I thought he told them beforehand. He screamed at me that I ruined his wedding. I told him it's not my fault he wasn't honest with them. I just respected their wish to not attend the wedding. I couldn't know it would go down like this because, like I said, I couldn't attend several events before because of my sexuality, and my parents never said anything about it, so I thought it would be the same thing here. But I gotta admit, it's kind of sweet that my parents and the rest of my family stood up for me. They haven't done it before. That's more than a welcome change, but I still feel kind of bad because apparently I really ruined the wedding party. OP is not in the wrong. At the end of the day, homophobic people really got what was coming to them. I can comfortably go to sleep tonight knowing that these homophobic people lost, as they always should. At the end of the day, this is OP's brother's fault for not letting his own family know, like, hey, by the way, I didn't invite our family. Oh, why, you might ask? Because he's bisexual and has a boyfriend. Update 1. After my brother's visit, his wife and him went on a honeymoon, and the way the wedding party went might have been even worse than I imagined. What happens now is incredible. When I said in the main post that two fronts had formed, I only meant that metaphorically, of course. But it's no longer that. While nothing more interesting happened in the first 2 days afterwards, the terror started as soon as my brother and his wife went on their honeymoon. My mom and dad visited me and told me how the wedding party escalated and they were so close to physical violence. I thought it was funny at first, but this truly bothers me. I also want to point out that you did a great job convincing me that it's not my fault, but hearing my parents' side still gave me a bad feeling in my stomach. However, like I said, the terror started shortly after they went to their honeymoon. And when I say terror, I mean that my sister-in-law's family found both my Facebook and Instagram account and started spamming me with hateful messages. I received insults and hateful messages from various different accounts who all had one thing in common. They all had somewhat of a Christian theme, and all of them had the same last name. So it wasn't hard to find out whose accounts it was, mainly because I don't know my sister-in-law's family at all. I only know her, and I know her parents were homophobic Christians. But whatever. They not only started attacking me, they also found the account of my boyfriend over my account because we're linked as a couple and started to send him the same messages. On one side, the messages contain stuff like, "You're burning in hell for your sins." One even called me and my boyfriend two devils in disguise. The other side were just blatant insults. You get the idea. I called my parents and told them what they were doing. Then I sent a text message to my brother with screenshots of the messages his wife's family sent me, to which he replied that I shouldn't disturb him with that during his honeymoon as I already destroyed his wedding party. I couldn't believe it. He was just like them. He did send me an apology after my mom told me she called him, but none of this is the main reason I'm giving you this update this early, because I got a call this morning from an unknown number. I hesitated because I thought it was one of them, and I was right, but it was none of the people who insulted me. I heard a woman's voice who introduced herself as the half-sister of my brother's wife. She said it didn't went unnoticed what her family was doing and she wanted to apologize for that. I told her I'm not going to tell anyone in her family about this and that I don't blame her for her family's actions. She thanked me and hung up. I don't know why, but I have this feeling she only did this to protect her family from being reported. My mother wrote to me earlier that she wants to report the insults and the harassment of these people and that she demands for my brother to divorce his wife or she will disinherit him from her will, because That's not how she raised him. A little radical in my opinion, but I understand where she's coming from. This entire thing escalated so much, it's unbelievable. Thank y'all for support on my first post. In between updates, OP posted this on his profile. Why am I so casual about this entire situation? Some of y'all were wondering why I seem so calm and casual in the update when I'm discriminated against. The truth is that I have been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 3 years now, and the things that happen now are nothing compared to what I've been through. I've received hateful messages almost daily, not only from their accounts, but in general, and I learned to ignore that. There have been way worse situations, such as when my boyfriend went to visit his family and I couldn't go with them. We kissed each other goodbye on the train station, and when the train left and no one saw it, a group of guys attacked me. I was sent to the hospital because of severe injuries, just to give you an idea of what I had to deal with in the past. And don't get me wrong, we will report my sister-in-law's family, but what they're doing is nothing I haven't seen 1,000 times before. I can't believe that stuff still exists. That's terrifying. Update 2. First of all, me and my boyfriend are fine. Luckily for us, they didn't go any further than their text messages. My mom filed a report against them. I don't know the current situation about that, as I haven't filed the report myself. The reason I update you is a different one. First of all, one person in my sister-in-law's family is actually going to testify in my favor and against her family. It really takes courage to do so. It's the same person that called me in the last update. Somehow they found out that she is into women. No reason to hide it anymore. However, she said she's fine and is going to stay at a friend's house. I have so much respect for what she does. Imagine the strength you need to testify against your own family. I now feel bad for assuming she only called me to save her family from being reported. More importantly, what is the current situation with my brother? Well, my mom talked to him and told him to leave his wife or she will disinherit him from her will. He decided to stay with his wife, and my mom made her threat come true. He's no longer in her will. My father did the same. When I visited them, I also told them that I wish this entire situation went different. They assured me it's not my fault, but I feel like if it wasn't for me, then my family wouldn't be ripped apart like this. Haven't talked to my brother since then. My boyfriend feels similar. He also told me he kind of feels responsible for all this chaos. I assured him it's not his fault, but honestly, I wasn't even sure if I could say this in my position. On the other hand, it was my sister-in-law's family's bigotry that ruined everything, and everything would have been fine if I could have just attended. And now it's time for me to grow distant to this situation. We'll see what the report will do. I followed your advice to document everything. The insulting and harassing messages continued until 2 days ago, so I have much to say about them. Unfortunately, homophobia is still very much normalized in our society. I already said it in my post in my profile, but the reason I'm so calm and casual about the situation is the simple fact that I'm used to situations like this. They don't get to me anymore. If I let any insult get to me, I wouldn't make it for a long time. It's a coping mechanism. I've been into situations where I was sent into the hospital because I kissed my boyfriend in public, so insults and harassments like theirs is nothing I haven't seen before. Update 3. Last time I told you my mother was pressing charges against them, and to my surprise, we won. They weren't going to jail or anything, but they had to pay for their actions. Literally. There was one incident where my sister-in-law's dad was actually trying to find out where I lived and asked my brother who told him. Only God knows what he would have done to us if we still had lived there. But in the time span of the last 2 months, me and my boyfriend moved to a different place, which my brother didn't know anything of. Also, their social media accounts were deleted. However, I don't know if this was part of their punishment or if they did it themselves. My mother has also carried out the threat towards my brother and disinherited him from her will. After he came back from his honeymoon, he begged her to put him back in again. She said only if he apologized to me. She invited me and my boyfriend over, and my brother sat in the living room with his mad look on his face. She made him apologize, but I didn't accept this apology because I could tell it wasn't sincere. He did it because he had to and not because he was actually sorry. I told my brother that I am disappointed in him for who he has become. Before that, we had this huge bond. You usually never judge each other for stuff like this, and all of a sudden he has such a problem with me having a boyfriend. I just don't get it. I told him that I miss the old him. He didn't respond to anything. He just sat there quietly staring at the bottom. After I finished, he just got up and left. This was the last time I spoke to him, and it's already been a few weeks since this happened. My parents paid much more attention to the discrimination I faced since this incident. They wanted to learn more about the problems I face as a queer person. I really love them. My dad even got a bisexual pride flag for me and asked if he could hang it in our bedroom. That's so cute. W dad. W's in the chat for the dad. I love that I have such great parents. I just wish for my brother to become the person he once was. By the way, since the case with my sister-in-law's family is over, I didn't hear anything about their lesbian daughter. She supported us through the process, but we lost contact afterwards, and I just hope she's fine. I like this type of stuff because I'm straight, so like I don't get to see this type of stuff. Getting reminders that it still exists is nice, is a nice like break from reality. I feel like in everyone's head we like to imagine this world is like a perfect, beautiful place, but truly stuff like this is unacceptable. If you enjoyed, click right here to watch another one of my Reddit videos and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on new messy Reddit threads every week.